I think one of the biggest reasons entrepreneurs get stuck, feel overwhelmed, or are emotionally unfulfilled, struggle when it comes to feeling energized, is they are not living in accordance to their values. So what I'm going to break down today is a very, very simple exercise that I have used with myself and clients to live a life more aligned to your values, not other people's, not what sounds nice, but give you clarity on how you can make sure that what you say your values is how you are actually living when it comes to your day-to-day routine. Why are values so important? They shape or should shape everything you do if you want to live an inspired life. I really believe you cannot be emotionally healthy, let alone physically healthy, if you're not living in accordance to your values. How do I know this to be true? I've been in shape now for nearly 3 decades, and there were periods of my life when I was a plumber from 20 to 26 where I was doing a job I hated and living my life not in accordance to my values. And even though I had the six-pack, I might have looked confident on the front end, I was anything but that behind the scenes. Okay? I was lost, self-sabotaged in different ways, but very simply put, I was not fulfilled. And someone could have paid me £1 million a week to do that plumbing job, and this is nothing against plumbers, by the way, but I certainly wouldn't have been I wouldn't have been happy, sorry. I think what's important as well before you do this exercise that I'm going to suggest is do not bullshit yourself when thinking of your values or top 3 values. Firstly, get a pen and paper and write down what your 3 top values are. And if you don't know what your values are, think about what you spend most of your time on when you feel inspired. What do you watch most? What do you love listening to most? Who do you love spending time with most? What lifts your energy? What creates more positive emotions? What do you spend your money on? Or more importantly, what would you spend your money on or time on if money was no object and you could do whatever you wanted in your day, in your week? Another great question to identify what your values are is write down, what don't you value? What's the 1 to 3 things that you don't value, you despise, you have got no time for, you feel fatigued even thinking about it? Your primary values are probably going to be the opposite. So for me, my top 3 values are health, family, and then business. Health for me is the foundation for everything. Even though I've got a little daughter and a beautiful partner, Gabby, who are so important to me, if I'm not healthy, I cannot bring the best of me to them. I'm not happy emotionally. I wouldn't be energized, and they'd be getting the leftovers, certainly after working and things like that. And also, I can't be on this earth as long as I want to be on this earth for my little daughter when she grows up if I'm not healthy. And then family, of course, that's my driver for everything. And then business allows me to grow and contribute, which is my 4th and 5th top values. So they're mine, but don't copy mine. Think about what is most important to you and feel that in your heart. And if you could live a life that was everything you'd ever imagined, how would you live? What would you do? And the clues to what you value will be from those type of questions. Once you are clear on your values, look at your calendar and how you are actually currently living. Start with today and look at every task, every meeting, everything you have prioritized in your day. And then next to each activity and person you might have a meeting with, put a tick or a cross as to whether or not that task, that person is aligned to your values, or you're doing that because it relates to your top values in some way. Be really, really honest. Now, I'm not deluded. There are going to be things in your calendar and in my calendar that, especially if you're trying to grow a business and you've got other things you need to do, everyone has to do things they don't like sometimes, certainly when they're in the growth stage of business, or in my case, I've got a young daughter, and there are certain things I might have to help out from time to time that don't inspire me and I don't really like to do, but you've got to do them anyway. Okay. But there's a big difference between doing those things you don't like for 80 to 90% of your day versus a small fraction of your day. So go through your day, tick cross, does that person, that task, that thing that I've scheduled into my calendar align to my values? And then identify the patterns. And then at the end of the day, and you can do this for the whole week, by the way, look at how many things don't align to your values and ask yourself, what can I do about it? What can I change? Can I delegate that thing, or can I say no to that meeting and stop people pleasing and saying yes to other people that I should be saying no to? And also the same with your tasks, the things you've scheduled. If you know deep down in your heart, there are things in your calendar that you're repeatedly saying yes to, and you're doing that based on other people's values and not your own, right? You can be getting paid all the money in the world, and you can have the perception of success, right, by doing these things. But if you are not doing that based on your values and meeting your needs, you're going to find a way to meet your needs through destructive behavior patterns. And for many people, they self-medicate with food, drink, or both if they're living a life in accordance to someone else's values and not their own. The more you live your life in accordance to your values, the emotionally happier you're going to feel, the more energized you're going to feel. And you won't feel the need to escape how you live, because how you live is aligned to the things that are important to you and your heart. We live once, and I've learned the hard way. Life is a lot heavier, a lot harder when you're not doing things you want and are important to you, and generally, by default, probably have a positive effect on those you love around you. I've seen people, having coached so many people in different industries, who might have the front end perception that they're successful, the car, the house, the nice Instagram pictures, the watch, the business class flights, the first class flights. But if they're doing that just because that maybe felt right at the age of 20, but it doesn't now at 40 or 50, at some point you will feel that emotionally. And I've seen relationships go to shit because grown men weren't brave enough to face the reality that what they were doing and how they were living wasn't aligned to their values. Okay, so try that exercise. It'd be very, very interesting to see, or for you to see, how you feel when you do that exercise, because this quote's always stuck with me and it's not my own. Your priorities aren't what you say they are, they're revealed by how you live. Okay, so there's one thing saying your priorities and top values are X, but then when you look in your calendar, that's the reality of what your current priorities are. And if you can make sure that when you go into a day, a week, that more of your calendar is filled up doing what you like to do, aligned to your values, not only will you be happier, but just watch how much smoother and quicker you move forward towards the life that you want, not what someone else wants. So try that exercise, and I'll see you next time.